a brass whisper pickle on a brass Henry 4570. Whoo boy, I wonder how this is going to sound. Boy, it hits with authority. But now we need one for the dirt. Woohoo! Boy, that sounds good. One of my freaking favorite things to do. But yeah, we've got a brass suppressor on a 4570. If you know anything about brass, it's a little bit soft. So are we going to blow this thing apart? I don't think so. This is actually a really neat idea that my buddy David and his gunsmith come up with. Let's go check this thing out. And boom, boy is it hard to get that much gun in this little camera. That octagonal barrel is really nice. Of course, this thing is chambered in 4570, the only government that I trust. So this thing is a Henry H010B. He searched far and wide trying to find one, and this one came into his local gun store very well used. He spent quite a bit of time and quite a bit of elbow polish getting that finish shined up on the stocks, getting the brass shined up. Of course, he took this thing to his local gunsmith and had a little bit of work done there on the muzzle. We'll detail all of this here very shortly. So as for a sighting system, he has mounted a pick rail, got him a set of Vortex rings, and a ride-on FDE 1/8x24. Of course, he has put a Ranger Point Precision hammer spur on here for safety reasons. Very nice diamond checkered pattern there. Gives lots of good grip, so you don't have any negligent discharges. Now, he's put a Ranger Point Precision quick takedown screw on here. Those things are invaluable for quick takedown in the field toollessly and even on the bench. I just like being able to grab hold of it and give it a nice little spin. Of course, he's put him a large loop on there. That is a very nice addition. I like the profile of that one. Now, I'm going to have to get used to the shape of it because it is just a little bit different than my current ones. But it just gives it a really nice look. Again, on his forearm here, he has polished his finish out. He got his brass nicely and polished up. Now, you do know this one is without the side gate. He preferred a side gate. He was looking for a Henry X model. He was looking for anything and everything. When that one came in, he said, well, that is just good enough. So he just had to just settle for that one. Of course, having a side gate would make it just a little bit easier to load with the suppressor on here. But let's go ahead and get this thing over here on the tailgate, and I can show you what's going on the muzzle of this. And boom, there is what makes this thing unique. Now, we did state that this is not a side gate receiver, so we do have a little bit of trouble loading it. But what they've done is, of course, you've got 5/8 24 threads, but what they've done is they've used a Reardon quick detach brake. Now, this right here is from Reardon Manufacturing. That is a single port brake. Now, that brake does a really good job on its own. I've ran this brake before, and of course, what you get is this really nice QD taper. Now, that QD right there, this mount fits anything, your industry standard, your 1.375. So I could take this mount and put it in my Silencer Co. Hybrid. I could put it in my JK Armament stuff. I could put it in many of the other manufacturers. So this isn't just proprietary to this. But now what is under here? Y'all remember that feller that likes to lick my face? Rob Higgins from Wit Machine.
Look, zoom in on his face. It's still shiny and clean. It's almost lickable, but I won't go there for the moment.
What is under here is a Wit Machine Mod 1. Now, this Wit Machine Mod 1 is a bomb-proof can. Now, you notice what they did was they took a brass stock and cut the ID out so that it just slips very nicely right over the top of the Mod 1. As far as I can tell, it doesn't cause any harmonics issues. So yeah, that's just simply enough, a bomb-proof little can under there. And how do I know that it's a bomb-proof can? Well, I shot a 375 H&H, a safari rifle, through a Mod 1. I shot it for 3 rounds. Now I wouldn't shoot that 375 H&H all dang day with no hearing protection, but in a hunting scenario, 3 rounds is just fine. So definitely a bomb-proof little can inside here. So any of you guys that were worried about the brass being malleable and expanding over time, no, not when you got Superman on the inside of it. So let me go ahead and let you guys in on my load. How do I make a 4570 so quiet? Well, first and foremost, you go ahead and load it subsonic. Now, when you're loading subsonic, you have some concerns. You don't just take your favorite powder and start putting less in there. You want to maintain at least 54% case fill. So whatever your CC of your case is, you want to maintain that at about 54% because you get position sensitive. So you have your primer here, and if it blows the flame out, you get flash over. You burn too much powder at once. So you start getting into some dangerous territory. Well, what I use on this one is 11.8 grains of Trail Boss. Trail Boss is a powder that is shaped like donuts, angry donuts. Now, as for the projectile, this is a 405 grain lead that has been powder coated. Lever Guns 50 sent me these some time ago, and I finally ran through all of them. I've been running another 350 grain that's just a lead projectile as well, but now these 405s, they sound really good. When I want to shoot steel, it's a hard cast 405, so I mean it absolutely hits steel with authority. So it sounds really good. So all you get is the and bing! And it really turns people's heads because it is such a loud downrange impact. So now I load 11.8 grains for here local. I'm about 1,100 feet in elevation. Now I went to Texas the one time and they were starting to flirt with that ragged edge of supersonic, subsonic. So when I went to the class in March, when I went back down to Texas for that Chris Costa class, Ranger Point Precision, Henry, Whip Machine, actually the manufacturers of this can, Whip Machine was a sponsor, and Primary Arms. When I went down there, I loaded it down to 11 grains. The reason being is I was loading a whole bunch of them. So if I could save 0.8 grains a piece, that actually turns out to be quite a bit more left in my bucket because it was loading so much. But of course, with loading 11 grains, it brought it down just enough that I knew I could go to Texas without breaking the sound barrier. And all we're doing is punching paper, so I didn't really need a whole lot of power. But now, in a 44 mag, I call them a bunny fart. That bunny fart load, they really are quiet. This right here is equally as quiet, but it hits a lot harder, so this is the whole turd. So now this thing is very contemporary, non-contemporary, and I freaking like it. It's a suppressor host with class. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this look at it. I know I enjoyed bringing it to you. I always enjoy playing with a suppressed lever. That is one of my biggest things, man. And I will actually put a playlist at the end of this. That way you guys can, if you wanted to, you could just indulge. But now remember, you can support the channel while you're doing your shopping. If you'll check out the Linktree links below, just click on those links before you do your shopping. The channel gets a small kickback and it allows me to place more lead in more levers and we can have a lot more fun. But anyway, y'all have a wonderful day. We'll see you next video. I love you, and I love this brass Henry. I think my buddy's gonna have to fight me to get it back. Boy, it looks like it's gonna come a toad strangler. If you don't know what a toad strangler is, let me refer you to gully washer. If you don't know what a gully washer is, you sure enough ain't from the South.